and you've heard me say it, is tell the story, right? My mother came from a very large Catholic family, and after high school, she wanted to join the convent. So she joined the convent, and it was a convent, it was an order of Catholic nuns based out of Bensalem, Pennsylvania. And their focus was missionary work. So they worked with Native Americans. But my grandparents thought that was the greatest thing in the world. My mom went and became what they call a novitiate and studied for, I think, maybe a year, 2, 3 years. I'm not sure. Woke up one morning, went to her morning, I guess they call it a morning vespers. I forget, it was morning prayer. It wasn't mass. And as she was about halfway through this, she gets a tap on her shoulder, and it was one of the mother superiors, or mother superior. And she's like, and I forget, my mom, she had a different name. She'd chosen a different name. And they said, you need to come with us. And my mom was nervous. She's like, oh, did something happen?
Right.
Did one of my parents pass away? Or they take her into the office, and they're like, we've deemed you don't have a vocation. So your parents are on their way here. Pack up your stuff,
Yeah, you gotta go.
and you gotta go. And my mom was crushed because she really believed that this is what her calling was. Like, she really thought she was gonna be a nun and go and do missionary work with the Native American, the indigenous people all throughout, like, the western part of the country. So my grandparents drove out to Bensalem, loaded my mom up, drove her back to New Oxford, Pennsylvania, and my mom was crushed. She didn't know what she was gonna do. So she started working for a company called Arrow Oil. So if you've probably seen their trucks around, they're all around. They started off like as a small oil company, energy company in central Pennsylvania. And then that's how she got to meet Mr. Harbaugh and Mr. Summers. And then when they were starting their company, they stole her. They brought her in to help them start it off. So again, it's funny how things...
The timeline just adds up.
And then I think I told you something else which kind of blew your mind. The convent that my mother was at in Bensalem, Pennsylvania, ended up being about a mile to 2 miles from what would soon be, and one day be, the main office and warehouse for Delta Sales. Yeah, so literally 2 miles away from, we were at 1231 Ford Road in Bensalem, Pennsylvania, and the convent was 2 miles away.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Weird. So again, destined or doomed? I don't know. I think for me, it's serendipitous, right? That's the word that I think that's a nicer way of putting it. Destined, when I'm talking to Dave Schick, same thing. He said we were destined for this. But I think that's the thing. That's the other thing. And I told you this, and I told all the new team members. People in the electrical industry all have really cool stories like that.
Yeah.
And you try to leave. Like, I tried to leave like 3 or 4 times, and we can talk about that a little bit later because there's some funny ones there. But everyone has a story. And then when I told you all that, it circled right back to your initial point. Why aren't we telling that story?
Exactly.
Again, we're not promoting product, but we are bringing another layer. Because it seems, because I guess in most cases, to your point, everything was really superficial in terms of we were just talking about products and this. But taking this medium and allowing it to tell our stories and let people learn a little bit more about us.
And connect further than just the product.
Right. Yeah, so kind of.
And I feel like the electrical industry is a very tight-knit industry. So it just gives that opportunity to learn more about your colleagues, people you work with. That's great.
Yeah, I think that in most cases, it is very tight-knit. Some people would say a little too tight-knit, but I don't think so. I think every industry is like that. It's just, it's obviously the scale is different, right?
Right.
But because we are, as reps, it's very specific, the territory that we cover and the manufacturers that we represent. And then the manufacturers too. I mean, there's only a limited number of manufacturers, right? So you do have a degree of recycling of sales team here and there, of management, not so much ownership. We do see a lot of, especially right now, and this is one of the things that, again, you kind of keyed in on too. There's a lot younger generations coming in.
Yes.
Which I think is a good thing, because I think for a while, this industry was dominated by a lot of males, and there was not a lot of new blood coming into it.
Yeah.
You know, I know in '97 when I came into it full time, I can remember saying to my dad, I went to an EMRA. I said, "Geez, Dad, there's a lot of old guys here. There's nobody else. It's just like a lot of old dudes." And I felt weird. I'm like, this is really weird. But that's changed, and I think that that's a good thing, because for me, that's brought new ideas. I mean, we brought you on board, we have Caroline on board, we just brought Justin. You know, we're not that listen, I'll hire people who are worth it, and I think we'll bring anybody on board, but bringing in that newer generation, I think that's a big deal.
Yes, especially with, like, I would say marketing.
Yes.
Especially with social media marketing.
One of the things that I have pushed my team, and you've heard me say it, is tell the story, right? To sell a product and sit here and say, all right, well, this is the greatest mug in the world, and this is why you should use this mug, and it's made from this grade of ceramic, and it holds this many fluid ounces of coffee, and it keeps coffee. That's great. It's very monotonous and very black and white. But if I tell you the story behind, well, this mug came from my great grandfather, and he, you know, it's been passed down generations. That's not true, by the way. I'm just saying, but it's telling that story.
Yeah.
Scripted.
I think that was the first time we kind of realized, like, okay, we can get people to tune into what we're talking about, be interested in the product, but also being super relatable.
Right.
You know, at the end of the day, we're just trying to connect.
And all that being the case, it actually materialized purchase orders.
I think with all that said, you know, this podcast is something that is, you know, about the products, but it's not the main thing. So this is an opportunity for us to share about our brand, the people that work here at Phoenix, our history, our story, while also sharing other people's story.
And promoting our products. No, I'm excited. I think that this brings, someone said something to me about a month ago, and they made the comment, they're like, hey, listen, I'm not sure what kind of feedback you're getting, but I really enjoy it. My team really enjoys it. And it brings a level of, or a degree of humanity and some personality, which I think is good. So, you know, I'm looking forward to this journey. You're going to see a little bit of me, a little bit of Paris. We're going to have special guests. And to Paris' point, it could be factory team members, and even some of our own team members. That'll be interesting, getting some of our team members to want to sit down and talk about their story. But no, we appreciate your support. Paris, thank you for pushing me out of my comfort zone.
Thank you for being open to it.
Yeah, well, you know, we got to be open. We have to change, and I'm excited. So stay tuned. Rise Up with Phoenix. We got a lot of fun things, interesting things. So stay tuned. Thanks.